9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is Timeless Elite Wednesday with your WWT PR princess, your Timeless Elite Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me, here with you because we're going to do the follow-up from Double or Nothing from El Paso, Texas. And pretty much, we're on the road to all in Texas. Completed Double or Nothing. Now we're just on the road to Texas. So get ready to spend 2 hours with me. I'm sure during WWT Live, our wonderful councilman gave the preview for AEW's Dynamite. And we had a few people that were a little bit banged up from Anarchy in the Arena and a lot of matches. But we do have a stacked card for you tonight. We're going to hear from the winners of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, Hangman Adam Page and Mercedes Moné. We're also going to get the TNT Championship, Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher. We're also going to get a first round of the International Championship Fatal 4-Way match between Josh Alexander and Brody King. We're also going to have some ladies in action. And speaking of that, here comes Hangman Adam Page. As I mentioned, he's going to kick off the show with Toni Schiavone. But as I go back, we have a tag team match. Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford taking on Anna Jay and Harley Cameron in a no disqualification tag team match. We're also going to have a trios match, especially of what happened from Double or Nothing, Anarchy in the Arena. We have, because they were actually doing all these announcements in the coming, they were doing these announcements right before I got into Dynamite. So, trios match. Willow Nightingale, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe taking on Marina, Shafir, Gabe Kidd, and the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. So, all this and more, it's going to be fun. I'm very excited to spend with all of you, and I'm very curious on what Mr. Hangman Adam Page has got to say with his match against Jon Moxley, but I feel like there's a lot more to this story. But let's hear what he has to say. The crowd is going crazy for Hangman, and he's been at AEW from day one. Yeah, both. They started announcing messages like right before Dynamite was getting ready to start, because I was looking through and I was like, oh, yeah, they were doing this like right before he was on WWT, and it just kept going. But yeah. "48 days until Hangman saves us." Somebody had a sign up there. I will say, this is one of the few times Adam Hangman has felt very confident promo-wise. And he's thinking, well, Ospreay. Crowd is going crazy for Ospreay. Well, Ospreay. What? Huh? I kind of knew it was going to happen because I was like, they've been trying to pin him as the guy to do it. But I have a feeling there's a lot more layers to this. And we were talking about this on the watch along at Double or Nothing. Hangman is showing a lot of passion in his promo, which is really good. And speaking of unnecessary guests, Hangman meets an old foe. And he doesn't have Nana with him, Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland is alone. And by the way, just to let you know, his Reebok collection comes out today. It comes out today. But I'm very curious on why Swerve is out here. And I just feel like it's not going to be Hangman versus Moxley one-on-one. I feel like there's a lot more layers to this because Will Ospreay is probably going to be included in the fridge in the setting, and we may see Darby Allin in the fray as well. So let's see what Swerve Strickland has to say to his familiar foe. I feel so bad for Toni Schiavone. Oh, he's showing the footage from Dynasty. I knew he was going to show that footage from those obnoxious EVPs. Mm-mm-mm. Well, I don't think so. Lots of questions. I know Hangman doesn't like Swerve and they don't like each other, but I don't think Hangman would be the kind of person to do that kind of stuff. He did do it last year at All In. He came in during his match against Bryan Danielson. He did show up, just to be fair. Oh my god! These two still have bad blood with each other. And look who else shows up, Will Ospreay. I'm going to tell you something right now. If Darby Allin shows up, what are we going to do here? What are we doing? So I'm curious what Will Ospreay has to say for him to come out here. Because I just think it's not going to be Hangman versus Moxley. I think there's going to be a lot more to this story. This is more than just an AEW title. This is Moxley and the Death Riders. And Ospreay's trying to be the the peacemaker in all this. Trying to take the mic, and let's see what Ariel Assassin has to say. Well, that is true. He did shake his hand. Yeah, their match last year for Forbidden Door was crazy. I knew this was gonna happen. It has to happen. People need to understand this is more than just an AEW title. You gotta go with the Death Riders. Hangman cannot do this on his own. And I think this is something Darby was saying too before he got hurt. You can't. Oh boy. There's gonna be a lot of layers to this in 7 weeks. 7 weeks. I get it. Hangman and Swerve have a lot to each other, but Will Ospreay does have a point. And as I mentioned, you cannot handle the Death Riders on your own. And I think this is what Darby's been saying. I know, Boza, exactly. And this is what Darby had been saying right before he left. You cannot handle all of them on your own. You only get one opportunity. Not to mention, if you work cohesively together and understand the bigger picture, then we could get AEW, Team AEW on the same page and get the title wear back. But there's a lot of layers to the story because I will say this is not going to be Hangman and Jon Moxley one-on-one. So this is going to be something. And they're showing highlights from Anarchy in the Arena this past weekend. I will say, from the time I started watching AEW, this actually been one of the best Anarchy in the Arena matches. I will say it was a lot of mayhem. It was fun. It was so great. Yes, it was. It was so fun to watch. And oh, he did. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure our mayor was on and gave this match rating, and it should be. It was a fun match. It was very interactive. Everybody did their part. I'm very intrigued because we did see Hook come back, and he gave this weird look to Samoa Joe. So I need to see a lot of developing story with that. But so it made sense because I know a lot of people said like Eddie Kingston and Darby, but it made sense for Mark Briscoe because he has issues with Gabe Kidd when they were in New Japan. And a couple months ago, after Gabe Kidd competed on Collision, he said some not great things about his brother. So it makes a lot of sense for Mark. But here come the Death Riders with that briefcase for the AEW World Heavyweight title. And as I mentioned, there is trios action. Moxley and Marina Shafir. And also, Moxley, Marina Shafir, and Gabe Kidd. And why is that little front wheel Yuta out there? Seriously. I really would have loved to see Willow Nightingale just kick the crap out of him. But we're not starting long. We're starting with our first match, which is the trios match. Moxley, Marina, Gabe Kidd, accompanied by that little front wheeler Yuta, taking on Willow Nightingale, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe. I'm actually happy Mark Briscoe's getting a lot of spots, especially on like some of the main event spots. It makes me happy to see Mark because Mark has always been a team player. He puts his heart on the line. And it just makes me happy. And plus, it's interesting. He has so much deep stories with some of the people involved. I mean, of course, Moxley, Gabe Kidd, as I mentioned, from New Japan together. He just had a gruesome match with Ricochet this past weekend. So I love that Mark Briscoe is heavily involved because he's like one of the soft spots within AEW. Just don't cross him though. Because the one time he had an interaction with Gabe Kidd, and it's actually posted on AEW socials, he was furious. And that's one of the few times I've ever seen Mark Briscoe get that furious. But feel free to put in the chat. And also, throughout these 2 hours, I'm actually going to give my post-show and thoughts regarding Double or Nothing, because there's a lot that happened. There were some really good matches that happened. Obviously, my client, Toni Storm, she retained her title as the AEW Women's Champion. Anarchy in the Arena was great. All the matches were great. Of course, I know we got to talk about the men's one, but I will be talking about the women's Owen Hart Cup later on because I have a few things I have to say, which is not bad, but I'm looking at this through two lenses, from a PR perspective and from a fan's perspective. And I do have a question I will post in the chat later throughout the night. But it was definitely a good pay-per-view. And here comes Willow came out, and her partner, one of her partners, Speedball Mike Bailey, who had a really good match with Kazuchika Okada for the AEW Continental Championship match. And then Mark Briscoe, who as I mentioned, had a gruesome match with Ricochet. In that stretcher match, I just love Mark. Mark is great. And I definitely love it. And It's nice to see some of the band back together for the collaboration. Mark Briscoe and Willow. Just missing Ish, Tomohiro. Nice. Just missing Tomohiro. And also, of course, my client Orange Cassidy. But OC is going to be out for quite a while because I found out at a Dynasty he tore his pectoral muscle. So he's going to be out for quite some time, and definitely want to send well wishes to him. I know he would have been so fun in Anarchy and Marina, especially in this Death Rider storyline. He will be AEW World Champion in 2026. Mark my words, he will do that. But here we go. We got some trios action. Kicking it off with Gabe Kidd and Mark Briscoe, who I said these two guys are familiar with each other. And here we go. This is just I knew this was gonna be chaos right away. Speedball Mike Bailey taking care of Moxley. Of course, Marina and Willow are doing with each other. I do think they have to go one-on-one with each other. Marina, Shafir, and Willow have to go one-on-one at All in Texas. It just has to happen. Speedball Mike Bailey with those deadly kicks. He just kicked Jon Moxley in the neck. But it has to happen. I do believe it has to. I just wish somebody would attack that little runt really Yuta because he gets on my nerve. And I know we saw Tomohiro Ishii this past week. Surprisingly, with Brody King and Tanahashi was back this past weekend. And here comes Forbidden Door paying tribute to Sabu. Come on, Mark. And he's doing his signature move, what he does best. Mark, I don't care. Mark Briscoe is such a treat. I love him. I just love him. And he's from Delaware, too. But this match is going in picture-in-picture. But the match is still going live. Trios Action Live. And feel free to put in the chat on who you guys got. Oh my goodness. He needs to get over that. If he did not know, his client is going into the biggest match of her career, which for me, I will talk about that throughout later in the program because I do have some takeaways and thoughts about it. And I'm not bitter because Jamie Hayter put up a bet, one of the best fights she had. And she went through a lot. But I will be talking about that throughout the night as well. So maybe during the post show, I'll probably talk about it. But if I were him, I would not even leave Tanahashi alone. The man is going to retire in 2026. He's going to get ready for Forbidden Door in August. And he has business with Don Callis' family. Leave that man be. Hi, Ari. Barbara, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining on your watch along. Thank you for joining on this watch along for AEW Dynamite, continuing the fallout for Double or Nothing. Definitely want to get your thoughts on it. And yeah, to top it off, he got counseling. I think his client winning on Sunday was the right thing. Well, Boza, that's a lot to say because it's a good thing I was not on board because I have a lot. Just me, Boza. He can mouth off all he wants because I'm not going to be on WWT Live on Friday. But I will be saying a lot next week. And I do have a lot to say regarding that win because don't worry. Little Miss CEO, congratulations. But I got a lot of takeaways I got to say because I have a lot of thoughts throughout this. And I actually do have a question. And this is actually going to something. With everything happening with Mercedes Moné, with the global status, with everything, with everything that she has, mainstream opportunities, did she really need to win the Owen Hart Cup tournament? And the reason I say that is because with the status and everything she has, we knew that she was going to go to All in Texas, and she could have made her route easily. All she had to do was slap Toni in the face and be like, I want to see you. Because if JB Hayter would have won, of course she would have found her way in, and not to mention she had the EVPs in her back pocket. I'm just saying, there's a lot of creative avenues. But we'll talk about that throughout the program, throughout these 2 hours, because I have a lot of takeaways regarding that. And, you know, Ced can say what he wants about mine, but we shall see. But I will say this. He can say what he wants, but my client is a 4-time AEW Women's Champion. I like to see her try to get it 4 times. I'm just saying. But switching gears, we're back live on AEW Dynamite from El Paso, Texas. We have Jon Moxley in the ring with Mark Briscoe, and it looks like Jon Moxley biting Mark Briscoe's face off, but no, I lied. That was Gabe Kidd. You know, it's hard. The only reason I knew they looked alike is because they had bald. They were bald. That's what threw me off. But yeah, Jon Moxley's in the ring with Mark Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe is starting to fight back. Of course, fighting back at Gabe Kidd because, like I said, he knows them all way too well from New Japan Jays. Tag is made to Speedball, Mike Bailey. Like I said, he had a very incredible match with Kazuchika Okada. But of course, they're trying to set up Kenny versus Okada. And we shall see. Nice move by Speedball Mike Bailey. With those lethal kicks. I feel like he has legs of steel. That man. Kick out made by Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley got right back up. Moxley's staggering a little bit. The Speedball, he's trying to make the tag in, but it looks like the ladies, and here we go. Oh, it's nice. They're gonna get a one-on-one match at All in Texas. I don't think Toni and Mercedes is gonna be the only one, because that would be kind of a disservice if that was the only one at All in Texas. You gotta have more, and especially with the fact too, you're going up against NXT in the Great American Bash. And with the fact NXT has the most loaded women's roster, you better put some of your ladies on, not the pre-show. I'm not talking about the pre-show. You better put them on the regular match card. Because I could see Marina and Willow going one-on-one. Depending on what's going to happen tonight, I could see Megan Bayne and Gabe Kidd putting his hands on Willow, and thankfully, Mark Briscoe came to save. He is just that guy, Mark Briscoe. But going back to my point, depending on what's going to happen, and Moxley, Speedball with his kicks. He just has iron legs. And then she did a German suplex on the Speedball. Oh, wow! You don't mess with the babe with the plan. You don't mess with her. She is the babe with the power bomb. Both ladies are down, but we have, okay, that's Moxley and Speedball. I just want somebody to really punch that Wheeler Yuta in the face. And I'm lucky that to serve you, Ari. I'm happy to do this watch along on Wednesdays for AEW, and very excited to do that. And of course, that little runt Wheeler Yuta is going to get involved. Gabe Kidd takes out Speedball. And also, took Speedball out. And also because his buddy, Kevin Knight, he's actually doing the Super Juniors tournament. So that's why he doesn't have a tag team partner, Kevin Knight, there. Because I'm pretty sure if Kevin was there, he would have did the odds. But it looks like Mark Briscoe and Willow are kind of down a member. And it's pretty much the Death Riders have just been dominating. So even though the match isn't picture-in-picture, the match is still going live. So I love that the match is continuing, but it looks like the Death Riders are pretty much, are kind of taking over this match. And also, we're going to see the AEW Trios champion, the Ops, in action. As I mentioned, Anna Jay, Harley Cameron, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford. Tag team, no disqualification match. I just love it when the ladies are no DQ because it's going to be fun. I'm excited. And I just love the rivalry with those two. The TNT Championship match. Adam Cole taking on the protostar, Kyle Fletcher. That is going to be a banger. And then, of course, my client, the timeless one, the reigning AEW Women's Champion, will be meeting the winner of the Owen Hart Women's Cup Mercedes Moné one-on-one. And we're also going to kick off the International Championship Tournament for Fyter Fest. Josh Alexander taking on Brody King. I want to see Brody win. I want to see him win. It would be nice for him to get some singles gold. So I'm going for Brody King. But looking at this match, it looks like, Speedball finally got back in the ring. It looks like Moxley's trying to say a lot of trash to Speedball since he's trying to get up on his feet. And it's been pretty much the Death Riders taking toll on it. When do you think Marina Shafir will start wrestling as a singles wrestler? Well, all right, going back to your point, just to let you know, I don't know if you've been following Ring of Honor, but she's starting to wrestle on Ring of Honor a lot. I actually had the chance to see her in person wrestle when I was attending Collision in Atlantic City, and she wrestled against Layla Gray, which is a really good match. So she has wrestled in Ring of Honor, but I do believe her versus Willow is going to happen at All in Texas. It has to happen. Has to. I'm manifesting it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I do believe they are going to have a one-on-one. They're destined to have a one-on-one, and I'm very excited for that. Also, I'm just waiting for the commercials to be over because I'm just waiting for the match to start. But this is your... No, it's not your fault. It is not your fault, Ari, for not being aware. It's just a lot of people don't follow Ring of Honor. A lot of people don't follow it. I mean, I follow Ring of Honor because I follow it on socials. Like, I don't watch most of the matches, but I try to follow up it as much as I can with highlights and everything. But don't ever say you're sorry. A lot of people don't know, and a lot of people don't watch Ring of Honor on a week-to-week basis. But we are back live with our first match of the night, a trios match. Jon Moxley, Gabe Kidd, Marina Shafir taking on Speedball, Mike Bailey, Willow Nightingale, and Mark Briscoe. And I have to say, this is a really good match to kick it off. And it's only after 8:30. It is after 8:30. Oh my goodness. So, but I'm very excited that this match kicking off. This is actually a fun, energizing match. It's actually a very fun, interesting match. But Speedball Mike Bailey, he's back on his feet, giving chops to Jon Moxley. Moxley giving chops back. Of course, he gives the finger of salute. But Gabe Kidd's trying to get the tag in, and Jon Moxley looks like he's staggering a bit. And the tag is made to Gabe Kidd. Trying to make the bridge. Oh! I know he did not spit in Willow's face. See, just for that, Willow should have kicked the crap out of him. How dare you spit on anybody's face? Mark my words, she's gonna beat his ass. She's gonna beat his ass sooner or later. How dare you spit on anybody's face? And look who's in the back. Chris Statlander is watching this in the back, and I'm very curious to what she's thinking about. I'm very curious because I know she had concerns for Willow and trying to regain her friendship, especially what happened last year when she was with that weasel, Stokely Hathaway. So, tag is made to Mark Briscoe. But Mark Briscoe, he's just... Mark Briscoe is just full of heart. And I love that. Well, here goes Gabe Kidd and Mark Briscoe going to blows. And he's biting off Mark Briscoe's head. I thought Mark was busted open, but he wasn't. I'm very curious what's going through Chris Statlander's mind. Nice move by Briscoe. He's starting to feel it. Oh, nice move by Briscoe. Took out both Moxley and Gabe Kidd. Oh! Willow. Willow did the cannonball and Speedball moonsault. This is like insane. This is so insane. Oh my god. Mark Briscoe, he's feeling it. Mark Briscoe. And it looks like Marina. And get that little runt out of here. Get that runt Willow Yuta. And he's feeling froggy. And Chris Statlander, she's looking in the back. Kick out made by Gabe Kidd. I'm just very curious why Chris Statlander is looking in the back. I think that's going to be something to look at with Statlander, because I know she's trying to make amends for what she's done. Oh, and here comes Claudio. And you remember, Claudio actually has a match on Collision this weekend for that international championship match. So, you know. Oh, and there's his opponent, Commander. Head of this Saturday on Collision this weekend. As I mentioned, they are part of that international championship tournament match. See the 4-way qualifier. Claudio, Commander this Saturday. And it'll be after the NBA playoffs. And then look, John Moxley's got the Mark! Ooh, Mark almost got the pin. And here comes Speedball. Oh, and Moxley got Mark Briscoe in the submission hold. Oh, Marina. Oh, Marina and Willow kind of go at it. Gabe got submission on Speedball. And Mark looked like he's about to pass out. Yeah, like Mark Briscoe's about to pass out. But your winners of this match, John Moxley, Gabe Kidd, and Marina Shafir. And I could tell they needed a win after Anarchy in the Arena this past weekend. Of course, Moxley is going to be focused on All In 7 weeks in Texas. And I think, as I mentioned earlier with Hangman, I know Ospreay saying him and Hangman need to work together. This is what you're going to have to deal with. This is what Hangman is going to have to deal with. And he's going to pretty much going to get some allies to do it. But I have a feeling it's going to be more added to their match. As I mentioned, it could be a 4-way match. It could be Hangman versus Ospreay. And also, if you throw Darby in the mix, I could see there's a lot more layers to this. So be watching and pay attention to this very, very closely. And also we get to see the Hart Syndicate, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, especially on their match this past weekend against Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. Dustin and Sammy did everything they can, but do it along with their newest acquisition, MJF. Well, it looks like they're kind of calling out every time, but it's like, what other tag teams are there? It's like, what other tag teams are there? You don't want to pull the plug on FTR just yet because they're still heel. Private Party's been MIA. The Outrunners are supposed to be doing business with the Don Callis family. Also, you don't want to pull the plug on Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong because they're feuding with the Grizzled Young Veterans. And unfortunately, my clients, the Acclaimed, are split. For now. They're split for now. But they'll be back 2026. But it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to be the next team to step up to the plate. Very curious to know. But up next, see, we're not waiting too long for the ladies. It's going to be Anna Jay, Harley Cameron, Penelope Ford, and Megan Bayne. Well, it's on it. And I actually love this tag team match because it also is reiterating the rivalry between Anna Jay and Penelope Ford. And they know each other very well. So I love that they're incorporating that as well. Do you see AEW doing more with Athena and Billy Stark? Oh, absolutely. I do see a lot more with Athena and Billy. We got to see Athena be on AEW soil, along with Billy Starks as well. Billy Starks had definitely a showing. I'm just very curious on what they're going to do with Athena because so far she's held the Ring of Honor Women's Championship for now 900 plus days. That is a truly milestone. I don't know who is going to take the belt from her for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, but I would love to see her. I actually thought she was going to be the one to screw Mercedes Moné this past weekend, but I don't know. I think we're going to see more of Athena. It's just a matter of timing on when and where, but I don't think it's the last you're going to see Athena or Billy Starks. Billy Starks had a very solid showing in the Owen Hart Women's Cup, especially against a veteran like Jamie Hayter, my client, Jamie Hayter. So we're going to see a lot more of them. I'm just curious on where they're going to be. Hi, Bobby Patino. Thank you for joining on my watch along for Timeless Elite Wednesdays. This is your PR princess, your Timeless Elite, whatever you want to call me, Stone Cold Courtney, with you tonight on the Fallout from Double or Nothing, coming to you from El Paso, Texas. And we're pretty much switching gears to the road to All In Texas. We got 7 weeks. 7 weeks is the countdown. I just can't believe it. It's hard to believe they were talking about this last year, All In Texas. And even in January of earlier this year. And here we are. 7 weeks away. It's crazy. So it's very, very crazy. Yes, Bobby, your client Harley Cameron is actually coming up next. Her and her friend Anna Jay taking on Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne in a tag team no disqualification match. Love it when the ladies are in these kind of matches because it's always so fun and they get to be free and do whatever they want to do. So gotta give a shout out to the ladies. And it's obviously because we are Women's Wrestling Talk and we advocate for all the ladies of all promotions, regardless if it's top tier promotion, independent, local. We support all women's wrestling and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. But also, we do have a few more matches. We have Josh Alexander taking on Brody King at that Eliminate International Championship qualifying match for Fyter Fest next week. We do that. We also do have Adam Cole defending his TNT Championship against the Protostar Kyle Fletcher. That's going to be a good match. And then, of course, oh, yes, Bobby, because your client is Anna Jay. So it's nice that the two of them are teaming up together. Also, we're going to see my client, the Timeless One, the AEW Women's Champion, Toni Storm, meeting off with the Owen Hart Cup Women's winner, Mercedes Moné. I will have a lot to say because I didn't share a lot of my takeaways from this past weekend on Double or Nothing, but I will share it throughout this and also the post show. And we're going to hear from Ricochet after his match against Mark Briscoe. Ricochet needs a crew? Oh my god! I'm very curious on who's going to be with Ricochet. I'm very curious. Yeah, but he is. Well, I mean, at this point, because the Death Riders are a group, you have the Dog Chalice family, you have the Hurt Syndicate, you have people in groups. So it's like, who in their right mind would be aligning with Ricochet? That's what I want to know. But we shall see. Oh, good. Oh, hi, Bobby. Thank you for asking regarding my client, Orange Cassidy. So, I'm not sure if you've been on my watch along for the last couple of weeks, but I actually found this out when I was at Dynasty in person that Orange is going to be out for quite some time because he tore his pectoral muscle. So that's a serious injury to have. So he'll probably be out the rest of the year, which really sucks because he would have been a good asset for the Death Riders. And I think 2026 will be the year he gets the AEW World Heavyweight title. So wishing him a speedy recovery. Also, Jay White, he broke his hand. So he should be back soon. Hopefully by, well, either before or during All In, but he broke his hand because of the Death Riders, so it was a speed recovery. And now we have our ladies match, Megan Bayne and Penelope before coming out. We're just waiting on their opponents. Well, here come the ladies. The ladies ain't waiting too long. Harley, Cameron, and Anna Jay. And here we go. And I just love seeing the ladies getting it on in no disqualification matches. I will say, Harley did a lot of damage to Megan Bayne. She hit her with a pipe. With a pipe. Yeah, Bobby Hikaru Shida is having visa issues at the moment. But Kenny Omega is taking care of her cats because she is a cat person. So it's nice that Kenny Omega is taking care of her feline friends, which I love. But yeah, Hikaru Shida is currently having visa issues. Jamie Hayter recently had some visa issues, but that's taken care of. So hopefully we'll see Hikaru Shida soon back on television. But yeah, that always happens with a lot of visa issues. But right now, we're on the ladies. Harley Cameron, Anna Jay, Penelope Ford, Megan Bayne in a no disqualification tag team match. And these ladies are going to get it on. And I love seeing, why would you hit that? Why would you hit that knowing it ain't going to hurt Megan Bayne? Ooh, and that pipe hurt. See, that's what you should have did with Harley. That's what you should have did. See, okay. Well, at least Anna got a chair. Don't use that board anymore because the chair can really hurt, and the pipe. Oof, Megan Bayne is very powerful, and I do see her being in I do see her being AEW Women's Champion in the future. Actually, I do see her, and that is crazy that she has a gold chair. Megasis. But I do see her being in the Owen Hart Cup tournament next year. I do think she does have potential. Oh, she slammed her face. Nice tag team by Anna Jay and Harley. That's the way to do it. You gotta take out Megan Bayne. Save made by Penelope. Yes, it's nice to see Penelope Ford is getting some reps on TV and being Megan Bayne's little, as Jacob would say, Megan Bayne's little minion, you would say. Nice tag team by Harley and Anna. Well, Bosa, to be honest, I actually kind of enjoy this feud in a way. I actually do like it. But I can understand why you want to shift it. I do. I understand. But I actually do low-key like this feud a lot. And also, it does give an opportunity to expand a lot more rivalries within the women's division that don't involve the respective titles. But the match is going in, even though the match is in picture-in-picture, the match is still going on live. And Anna Jay, Harley Cameron. Nice move by Penelope Ford. I see Mina Sharkana being in. Yeah, Bobby, I do see Mina being in the Owen Hart tournament too in 2026. I mean, I think there's so many ladies that could do it in 2026. It's going to be very interesting to see. As I mentioned, of course, this past weekend, Mercedes Moné is the 2025 Owen Hart Cup Women's Champion, and I will be giving my thoughts later in the watch along because I didn't get a chance to do it on WWT Live. I didn't get a chance to do it. We didn't do a post show for Double or Nothing, but I will be giving my thoughts because there will be a post show. So, said our mayor can say whatever he wants, but don't you underestimate my client at the time this one. And by the way, between one of us, who actually got a chance to speak with our client and asked her a question? Me. You tried asking Mercedes a question and politely declined. Sorry, but I just had to throw that out there. And all that, Toni Storm called me darling. You just don't get that as much. She called me darling. Come on now. But anyways, it has been a very, very fun show. And thankfully I get to spend it with all of you on a Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. Everything else is happening, but I get to spend it with all of you. And I would not want it any other way, especially continuing the fallout, because this is the fallout for Double or Nothing. Oh, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I really, really do. But just me, guys. Seth's gonna be getting a lot from me, and I'm actually gonna do a challenge because you were supposed to get a WWT debate between Will and the mayor, but I think you need a debate because I'm actually gonna put this out when I come back to WWT Live next week. Because it looks like you're going to get a debate, but I don't think it's going to be between Will and Seth. It's going to be probably between me and the mayor. So, be warned, because there will be a lot of fighting words. Because you think you could talk bad about my client and say some of these other ladies in the AEW women's division are afterthoughts, especially my client Jamie Hayter? That's not going to slide. So we'll be talking more about that throughout the show. We are back live. We are back live with this no disqualification women's tag team match. Harley, Cameron, and Anna Jay taking on Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. I love it. Ooh, and Anna Jay got the chair. Yeah. I know Megan Bayne. Ooh! Took out Megan Bayne through a table. You slayed the Megasis. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And I'm not mad about it. Ooh, Sandy moves on to the chair. I'm very curious what's going to be the main event. Because I feel like, for some odd reason, I feel like we're going to close with the ladies. Either the ladies or... Ooh, and Megan Bayne got back up. I tell. Yeah. That could be a down. Oof. Oh my God. Here comes Dr. Sampson. He's checking on. Oof. Yeah, I'm looking at the replay blows out. Oh my God. I give credit to Harley. She wants to be a wrestler. She's putting out there. I give her so much credit. Oh my goodness. Her face is, and she's telling Dr. Sampson. She's telling Dr. Sampson, screw you. I want to finish this match. Oh, I'm even a bigger. I mean, I love Harley, but now I'm a bigger fan of her for really continuing this match with a bloody face. Oh my God. I really should not disrespect. Well, yeah, that too. Oh my goodness. I gotta give credit. See, this is what we need on Dynamite. We need more women's matches. That's all we want. Face descent onto Anna Jay. And Harley came in to break the count. See, this Harley really is finishing it. And Megan Bayne. Oof. Nice clothesline. Yeah, you can see the bloody face on Harley Cameron. Harley's not quitting. And you know, it's interesting when they faced off against each other at Collision. That was the longest match. Well, outside of my client, of course. And when she was in tag team action with Thunder Tits. If you get it. Harley and Megan Bayne just went at it. And I was at Collision too. It's just like Harley and Megan just went at it. And Harley did not want to quit. Megan Bayne, well, she is getting a little bit furious because I guess she doesn't like to be outspoken. With the electric chair, she's trying to take out Harley. Oof. That has to be it. Yep. Your winner of the match, which is only fair, Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne, which makes a lot of sense because it did, but woo! Yeah, Harley's busted open. But good fight from all four. Well, actually, definitely a good fight with Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. Joe Boza, I know you want this to end. Let us continue with all 4 of these ladies, please, because I think that's something that we need. We definitely need more storylines. Well, that is true, but I think we kind of need to do more storylines with it. Ooh, Dr. Sampson checking in on Harley with that. Oof, with that busted nose. Yes, it was a great performance by your ladies. We're going to see my client, the timeless one, against the winner of the Owen Hart Women's Cup Tournament, Mercedes Moné. I'm going to have a lot to say throughout this. And look who decides to show up in style. Your CEO and also your TBS champion. And it's very convenient that she has a lowrider because one of her favorite wrestlers is Eddie Guerrero, and he's from El Paso, Texas. So it makes a lot of sense. But I got a lot to say because as I mentioned, I didn't give my takeaways on what happened on Sunday. So I will be giving them in the post show or throughout the night. But she's coming to the ring, but we got another match. Oh, and I forgot, the Ops are in action. Your reigning AEW Trios champion. I'm just curious on what they're going to do with Hook. And also, if you remember too, because, I mean, if I was Hook, I would be pretty mad too. And if you have to understand the history between Hook and Haas, because they were on Team Taz together, along with Ricky Starks. So, that's another layer in developing story. Oh, Bobby, thank you. Thank you so much for CEO. I kind of wish it was Jamie Hayter because Jamie Hayter's my other client, but Jamie put up a fight. I will say this. And also last week from Double or Nothing, we saw the return of Hook. He had a golf club, take out Claudio, and then he's looking at Samoa Joe like, what are you doing? I guess Hook was looking like he looked like he was pissed off over something. So yeah. Anyways, hi Aaron Teagle. Thank you for joining on Timeless Elite Wednesdays with me, your WWT princess, your Timeless Elite on everything you want to do. And I'm very, very proud. Who are their opponents? Yes, Bobby. Brian Cage was also in Team Taz as well. Oh God! Here come the Ring of Honor ripoffs of Chase Universe. Thank you for pointing. Oh yeah, the frat house. Oh my God! I know who these guys are. If you follow Ring of Honor, you know who the frat boys are. My goodness. This is going to be an interesting match. And also, I want to go back to Ricochet, too, because he said he can find himself some friends. I'm very curious on who do you think is going to align with Ricochet. Just put it out in the chat. Put it out in the chat on who you think is going to join up with Ricochet. Because this is a question that I'm very curious to know. Oh my goodness. We hardly knew you, frat boys. Oh my goodness. Why would you be in Samoa Joe's face? Oh my god. I could see the Young Bucks with Ricochet because I feel like Ricochet does have a relationship with the EVPs. That could actually be something. I'm trying to think who else on the roster would be good with Ricochet. Oh! I know he's one of my clients. I wouldn't mind seeing Ricochet and Max Caster team up. For some odd reason, it just would work. Because when you really think about it, it could work. Because even though Max is one of mine, I do find Ricochet to be annoying. But I feel like they could work well with each other for some odd way. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. So that could be another thing to do. But here we go. We have this trios match. The frat boys taking on the ops. And it looks like it's just pretty much a chop fest with Shibata. And I forgot one of the frat boys' name. The only person I know is Jack Jameson. That's the only person that I know. Shibata, he's like wasting no time for this. Powerhouse Hobbs is just doing what he does best. Powerhouse Hobbs is trying to end this thing. And one of them pissed off Samoa Joe. What did Jack Jameson do? Did he really? Thanks for coming. Oh my goodness! Just get rid of him. Just get rid of him. Griff Carey. Thank you for that, Bobby. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness. Powerhouse was just spine busting everybody in that frat house. Oh my god. It's hard to believe it's 9:10, and I'm very curious on what. I feel like they're gonna end with the ladies. Because you have two matches left. You have Brody King, Josh Alexander, and Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher. And I feel like they're going to be back to back. And yeah, you're going to hear that creep Don Callis. And I think it makes a lot more sense for them to have it back to back. But your winners, the AEW Trios champion, the Ops, they pretty much ran shackled throughout all the frat boys. Oh, thank you for that, Bobby. He was with Brian Pillman Jr. and Julia. Okay, so now I know. Thank you for that. Thank you for that little nugget. And it's hard to believe it's 9/11. And we didn't have a women's match at 9:30. They actually bumped it up a little early, which I love. And I think it makes a lot more sense to have. I think they are going to end it with the ladies. I have a feeling they may end it, but I'm not going to hold my breath much longer. But up next, of course, it's going to be the TNT Championship. Adam Cole taking on Kyle Fletcher. That is going to be a fun match. And I have a feeling that's going to be a storyline between these guys. Because, also feel free in the chat on who do you think should challenge Adam Cole for that TNT Championship at All in Texas. Who do you think? Is it someone else from the Don Callis family that should challenge him, or what? Because I think this match is really gonna slap. Oh my goodness, it is going to slap. But feel free to put in the chat on who you think should be Adam Cole's next challenger, especially going into All In, because I could see him defending that title. Because I feel like for this one, it has to be super big. Because we got the announcement, AEW is going to be in competition with WWE that weekend. Because you have, as I mentioned, the NXT Great American Bash, Saturday night's main event in Atlanta. And the next day, you have Evolution. So I feel like this is an opportunity for AEW to really step outside of their comfort zone and really be creative and innovative. And especially with the fact, as I mentioned, NXT has one of the best loaded women's rosters. And this is where they really need to bump up a notch with their women's division. And I'm not talking about the pre-show. The match card, you need to at least have more than 2 matches. I mean, I love my client Toni Storm, but neither her or Mercedes is really going to help. You're going to have to really develop some storylines centered throughout that women's division and really bump it up. And I have a feeling my other client, Jamie Hayter, may be included in the women's title picture. Because, nah, I don't know about that. I think my client, Jamie Hayter, may be included in something. And also, I know people really want Toni and Mercedes in the main event. I would like that to happen too. But you also have to think of the men's side, because if they really revamp this men's main event match for the AEW title, I don't know, it's going to be a lot to do, and I think it needs to be bumped up, because I know Toni and Mercedes, they could do it, but they need to really bump it up, because last year we had one of the most unexpected storylines in that women's division, Toni Storm and Mariah May. You got to make sure it's on the same level as that, because that was like a whole year for development. Close to a year. It was like cinema. Absolute cinema. So, we shall see on that. Ooh, that would be a good match. Konosuke Takeshita against Adam Cole. That would be crazy. Hi, Eddie Foster. Thank you so much for joining on Timeless Elite Wednesdays with your Timeless Elite. And very, very excited. And, ooh, Renee Paquette. Oh, we're going to hear from my client, Jamie Hayter. I really thought we were going to have Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher. But we get to hear from Miss Jamie Hayter. She fought her heart out. But as I say, I have a feeling she's going to be included in that picture. All the fans love Jamie Hayter. My client, Jamie Hayter. But let's see what she has to say to Miss Renee. Whoop. The lights are out, and that could only mean one thing. Oh, I kind of know this because there was a promo a couple weeks ago, and she has been following. She drilled. Well, she made it her known. Well, I think that kind of blows up my theory of Jamie Hayter being included in the women's match. That kind of blows it out the water. But Melistico showing photo to him from CMLL, and also it's good promotion too because Grand Slam Mexico is coming up in a couple weeks in June. They're going to be in Mexico, which I'm very excited. Yeah, Eddie, she made her presence known, and she took out the former. Why is it every time my client Jamie Hayter does a promo, somebody wants to attack her? I really want to hear her what she does next. But I'm very intrigued that she's in the new storyline. Or you can have Leo Rush in it. That could also be a thought too. Leo Rush in Action Andretti. I could see them with Ricochet. I could see them with there. Hi, Zach Miller. Thank you for joining on Timeless Elite Wednesdays, and very excited to be doing with me and continuing the fallout of Double or Nothing. We are just getting ready for a championship match, the TNT championship match. Kyle Fletcher taking on Adam Cole. And I think this is going to be back to back because, shockingly enough, we may have to listen to that creep Don Callis, because I'm pretty sure after this is another person of the Don Callis family, Josh Alexander, so he can take up Brody. So it's nice that they're doing it back to back, but they are, and I love that they're ending it with the ladies. Love it. But why does everybody keep attacking my client, Jamie Hayter? I wanted to hear what she had to say. But they're showing what happened this past week at Double or Nothing. Brody, Ish, and Tanahashi made a surprise return because we know after All in Texas, it's Forbidden Door in London, England, at the O2 Center. So, and also Tanahashi's on his retirement tour because he officially retires in 2026. So, well, here comes Adam Cole, the reigning TNT champion. I will say the one thing about him, he doesn't have to worry about backup. He doesn't have to worry about backup because he's got Kyle and Roddy for backup with the Don Callis family. So here comes your reigning TNT champion. So very happy for Adam. Bobby, thank you so much. And I do appreciate everybody in this chat, especially for this Wednesdays. I know AEW is not everybody's favorite cup of tea, but I try to be more informative and descriptive any way I can when it comes to AEW, because they do have some stuff. They do have good stuff in their product. They just have to work out a few bugs, and I want them to be the second best wrestling promotion on the planet, because they have it, but they need to work out a few bugs, especially in their tag team division. I really want to see their women's division take it to the next level and create a lot more storylines that don't involve the titles. Actually, I just realized something. I'm very curious if they're going to make Mercedes do a double duty with their TBS title, because I'll share it later on in the program, but she needs to drop that TBS title, if we're being honest. But like I said, I'll talk more about that later on. Here we go. TNT title match. Adam Cole, the Protostar, Kyle Fletcher. I think this is going to be a really, really good match with these two. Of course, you still got that creeped on Callis doing commentary alongside the Lance Archer. Would you like to see Tony Khan go after any wrestlers after they got released from WWE? And of course, Kyle Fletcher mimicking Adam Cole's entrance. Only Adam Cole could do that. Bobby, going back to your question, I mean, I think for Tony, he just needs to focus on the roster that he has now. And also not just revamping AEW, but also focusing on Ring of Honor to see where they're going to go with this. I know there was some reports floating around allegedly that Dakota Kai was interested in signing with AEW, but I don't think it's official. I wouldn't mind seeing Dakota in there, but I just think he needs to work with the roster that he has and just kind of figure out, like, where is it going to go? Adam Cole looks like he's trying to... Oh, look. Rocky Romero and Champaretta, I'm not surprised. Oh, and thank God, it's not surprisingly, Roddy and Kyle. It's a good thing Adam Cole has some backup with Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly. Oof, nasty kick by him. So even though the match is in picture, the match is still going online. Looks like the referee's trying to tear his attention to Adam Cole. And it looks like that creep Don Callis is not doing commentary. Ooh. Looks like Kyle Fletcher's been getting the upper hand here. Kyle Fletcher's been getting the upper hand. And hits his... Oh my goodness. Kyle Fletcher. And of course that creep Don Callis. He had to interfere. That little creep. Hi, Frederick Cole. Thank you for joining. I actually do like Tony Schiavone on commentary. He's been around the block for so long, and he has been very influential, especially in this especially in AEW, a lot of people do respect Tony Schiavone. If you ever watch him from the WCW days, he did commentary, and he actually did get help from good old JR Jim Ross, who, by the way, just had surgery for colon cancer. And there have been reports running around that it was a success. He's resting, and he really wants to do commentary for All in Texas. So sending love to good old JR Jim Ross, because it's hard. It stings. It stings when one of the people that you grew up watching wrestling has a chronic illness that they're fighting. But kudos to JR for fighting colon cancer. I will say Kyle Fletcher knows how to be a heel, and he absolutely loves it. He loves it. But I feel like there's going to be a lot more. Yeah, he recently, well, not a surgery, but he was diagnosed with colon cancer. But he just had surgery for it today. And it was a successful one. So sending well wishes to JR, and hopefully we get to see him back at Texas in 7 weeks. But going back to the tension, we are back live with a TNT championship match. Kyle Fletcher, Adam Cole. Of course, you have that creep Don Callis at ringside next to Lance Archer. And also doing commentary tonight is Ian Riccaboni from Ring of Honor, Excalibur, and Taz. Oh, Bobby, you like Nigel McGuinness? Well, if you watched Double or Nothing this past weekend, Nigel McGuinness returned to the ring where he teamed up with Daniel Garcia to take on FTR. Nigel still can go. He can go in the ring, but he looked pretty hurt, and Tony Schiavone had to check on him, so hopefully we do get to see him too. I keep thinking tomorrow because there were a few times Collision was on Thursdays, but now it's back on Saturdays. Hopefully we can see Nigel McGuinness back on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have a lot to say after his comeback return to the ring. And he pretty much told him, don't you ever put your hands on Tony Schiavone or me again, to FTR. But very curious on what they're going to do with Nigel. It's nice to see him back in the ring. Looked like he didn't miss a beat. But going back to this match, Kyle Fletcher is really putting the beating on Adam Cole. As I mentioned, I feel like almost everybody is feuding with the Don Callis family. And I don't know what it is, but I always feel like the Don Callis family are more threatening than the Death Fighters right now. And they don't even have any gold. That's the interesting part about it, is I see the Don Callis family more threatening. It's like almost everybody's feuding with the Don Callis family. Adam Cole, Roddy, and Kyle, the Outrunners, Brody. Now you include Tanahashi in the fray. Oh my God. Bobby, I hope so too. I would like to see that. And I know last year it was really fun when he was part of that Casino Gauntlet match, because it was in the UK, in London, and that's his home country. So I wouldn't mind seeing him being in the match at All in Texas, but I would love, I know Texas, and I don't want to jump ahead. Oh, nice move by Adam Cole. And Adam Cole is starting to feel it from the fans. He wants to end this match. He took off the knee pad, and not surprisingly, and Josh Alexander rang, and then the match ended in no disqualification. And it's nice to have that swerve because he's facing off against Brody King for the International, which is actually a nice segue. But it was such a good match, and I didn't think it was a match Kyle needed to lose. But yeah, Josh Alexander and Kyle are beating the crap out of Adam Cole. I know, Kyle O'Reilly and Roddy, they're dealing with Trent Beretta and Rocky. But here comes Brody. Brody has a steel chair because remember, he has a match against Josh Alexander for that International Championship qualifier match. And it should be happening right now. So, yeah, I think we're going to end with the ladies. We are going to end with the ladies facing off. And here comes security. Yep, it's up next because after this, and I'm going to tell you something. I hope they let the ladies get a good, solid 10 to 15 minute promo. And if it has to be overrun, so be it. I'm okay with that. But going back to your point regarding Nigel Bobby, I wouldn't mind seeing All in Texas, but there is another pay-per-view after All in Texas that I would like for him to wrestle, and it's at Forbidden Door in his home country of the UK. That would be so awesome to see him wrestle back in his home country. I know it's not Wembley Stadium, but it's going to be at the O2 Center in London, and that would just be so cool, wrestling in front of your home country, coming back, especially with the partnership you have with AEW and New Japan. There's just so many possibilities that can happen, and I would love to see Nigel wrestle, especially back in his home country again. Hi, Eric Douglas. Thank you for joining. I feel like this is a lose. Well, Eric Douglas, to be fair, I know because I kind of said this over the weekend, I thought at least Jamie would have been included in that title picture between Mercedes and Toni. But I'm very curious on the direction what they have for her. I know they tried to do it when she came back and she did with Julia Hart for a bit, and then she was at the Owen Hart Women's Cup tournament. I just hope, because the last thing I want is for them to really not position Jamie Hayter, because I do see my client Jamie Hayter as being one of the forces in that women's division. I would love to see that happen. I'm not losing hope for Jamie Hayter. I definitely see her back. And also, a lot of people don't know this. She has unfinished business with Toni Storm. Because if you go back to when, this is like way before Toni was timeless, they had a very unorthodox feud that has not been finished. And that's something I was very looking forward to seeing, but we shall see. I'm just very curious on what they're going to do with this. And also with the fact, too. Oh, Eric, that would be good. It's a possibility. She could get it back at Forbidden Door. It's a possibility. Because you have to realize, yep, Eric, people tend to forget Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter have unfinished history that needs to be addressed. And also, I do see her competing at Forbidden Door. And I also see it because next year, 2026, AEW will be back at Wembley Stadium next year. And that would actually be a really cool story to do. So, I'm not losing hope yet. I do think my client, Jamie Hayter, will be back in the title picture. I'm just very curious on where this feud is going to go. Especially with the new person on the block. It's going to be very interesting to see. But Eric, don't lose hope. Oh, and here we go. We got our match. Brody King, Josh Alexander. I'm laughing at the person's sign in the front row on Dynamite. They said, "I'm here to see Brody King." I love it. I would like for Brody to get a win. I wanted to get some singles gold. Yes, Frederick. All In will be going back to Wembley Stadium in 2026 next year. They made that announcement a couple months ago, last year, but they will be back. I like to see ADM defend the New Japan Strong Women's Championship this year for Forbidden Door. Like Santa. Yeah, I could see a possibility of AZM defending that New Japan Strong Women's title. To who? I don't know. But I would like to see that. But it's a possibility that we're going to get it. But yeah, Wembley Stadium will be back. And don't worry, my client JB Hater will be back in the title picture soon. I need Brody to win this match. I mean, nothing against Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander, I know he's Canadian, but I need to see Brody get a victory. He's choking him out with his shirt. Yeah, I will say, because AZ and Mina Shirokana have some unfinished business with each other. Actually, Mina has some unfinished business with Mercedes. Because if you saw New Japan Resurgence, and when ACM won for the New Japan Strong title, Mercedes and Mina were going at it, and it looks like they were really about to pick a fight. So that's another thing. Oh, Brody, that has to hurt. And I'm looking at Lance Archer. He's just standing there like a bodyguard to Don Callis. He's just standing there stiff. He's like one of the guys you see in the movie Men in Black. Yes, he is, Bobby. Brody King is very, very talented. I would love for him to win tonight's match. But it looks like we're going to end with the ladies. Which is and it's crazy. We kicked off the show with the winner of the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament. And we're ending it with the ladies. I don't have a problem with that. But we shall see. Brody. The fans do love. I'm here. I can't get over that side. I'm here to see Brody King. Oh, I love it. I just love it. It would be nice to see Brody compete alongside Kenny Omega at Fyter Fest. I'm very curious on how this is going to go, because I heard next week is going to be 4 hours. Dear God, 4 hours. Well, I mean, 4 hours can be interesting. And also this Saturday on Collision, it'll be 8 p.m. or following Game 6 of the NBA playoffs. And also this weekend for the forward qualifier match, the International Championship, that's going to continue with Claudio Castagnoli taking on Commander. You're going to have Hirochio. And I don't want to mispronounce the other person's name because that's in Spanish. But there'll be the other two qualifying match happening. Very curious on what other action's going to happen this Saturday on Collision. It'll be back live. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear from Nigel McGuinness after his match that he had last week, teaming up with Daniel Garcia and against FTR. Feel free to put in the chat on who you guys have. Do you guys have Brody King, or do you have Josh Alexander advancing next week to take on Kenny Omega? And also this match is going in picture-in-picture. All right, Bobby, you got Brody King. So even though the match is in picture, the match is still going on live, and it looks like Brody has do it. So see that. I would like to see Brody get a win. I feel like he needs an opportunity at International Championship holds, especially against Kenny, but I know they're building up for Okada versus Kenny at All In Texas. Josh Alexander is really taking in that heat. He's just taking in that heat from the fans. Josh Alexander looks like he's getting the upper hand here on Brody. Quick kick out by Brody. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Brody King taking on Fighter Fest next week. I just actually thought of something. Because I feel like for them to end it with the ladies, I feel like something bound is to happen. And I don't know why, because I know everybody was anticipating Mariah May returning on Double or Nothing. What if she makes a return tonight on Dynamite and aligns herself with Mercedes Moné? That would be so mind-blowing. And also, it would be perfect, too, because it's a follow-up for Dynamite. And also, she's giving a little bit of a stagger. I would be okay with that. That would be interesting if Mariah May did show up tonight on Dynamite. Interesting. But that's just my thought. But going back to the match, we are back live with one of the qualifying matches for the International Championship match. Josh Alexander taking on Brody King. Of course, you have that Duck Creek Don Callis at ringside alongside Lance Archer. And this has been a good solid match between these two. Clothesline by Brody. Yeah, the fans are definitely chanting for Brody. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because like they would not end it with the ladies for some odd reason. Have you seen No Same Movie? No, I have not, Frederick, and feel free to elaborate more because I have not seen that. But it looks like Brody and Josh Alexander are both on the top rope. And this could get very nasty. Oh! Hit Brody's arm! Right arm! That has to hurt. I'm pretty sure that creep Don Callis is laughing. Laughing. Ooh. Brody King's putting Josh Alexander in a sleeper hold. Oof. Targeting that arm. Oof. German suplex outside of the ring. That has to hurt. That has to really, really hurt. Shot made by Josh Alexander. He's mimicking Brody King's call, which is not good. The fans are really booing. Ooh. Kick to the face by Brody. And Brody's going to show you how it's done. Ooh. Just rampage Josh Alexander. And both men are down. Who is going to Fighter Fest to face Kenny Omega for the AEW International Championship? Yeah, I have a feeling if this is going to end with the lady, I'm happy the ladies are ending Dynamite, but I feel like something is about to happen. Because for the men, you had Willow Ospreay come in. Oh, Brody King missed a cannonball. Because you have the ladies ending it, something has to happen. That's why I said, what if Mariah May makes a return? I know people are speculating with her, with WWE, and that's her dream, but that would be really interesting if her and Mercedes did link up. Interesting. Kick out by Brody. Whoa! Josh Alexander's busted. Everybody's having a busted nose or face tonight. First it was Harley Cameron, and now it's Josh Alexander. His face is busted open. Oh my goodness. I thought at least we could have like a few matches where it doesn't include blood. I mean, I'm okay with having a few blood spots here and there, but whew, I didn't think he was busted open that bad. Ooh, nice block by Brody. Ooh, that was a nasty clothesline. That has to be it. That's it. Yay! Brody can't advance, and he will be fighting alongside, well, against Kenny Omega for the AEW International Championship. Oh my God, Josh Alexander is so busted open. Ugh. But we'll find out who the other two are this Saturday on Collision. It's going to be a fun match next week at Fyter Fest. Pretty sure Okada's going to be looking at that match closely with Kenny. But so happy for Brody. Congratulations to him. And yeah, we're going to end it. We're going to close it off with the ladies. I'm very curious on what they're going to have to say. Because I feel like if the ladies end this match, you know something's about to happen. Yep, Fyter Fest. Oh my God, next week, it's going to be 4 hours. It's going to be 4 hours, so brace yourself. Brody King, Kenny Omega, we're just waiting on the other two people for Collision this weekend. So, oh boy, I'm going to need pretty much a lot of coffee and a lot of things to keep me awake. But for AEW International Qualifier, the International Championship 4-way qualifier is continuing this Saturday on Collision. Commander and Claudio Castagnoli. We saw them earlier tonight, and we are definitely doing Mascara Dorada taking on Harichio. Also, we're gonna have Sky Blue taking on Mina Shirokana on Collision. As I mentioned, we're probably gonna hear from Nigel after his match last week. So yeah, you got the Don Callis family, Kinosuke Takeshita, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta taking on Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Tomohiro Ishii on Collision this weekend. So that's gonna be fun. And in the back, we see Kyle Fletcher. Oh my goodness! These guys are really going to go at it. Kyle Fletcher and Adam Cole. I think we know who's going to be his next contender at All in Texas, because I feel like this is going to be a rivalry, especially in the mid-card division. That's going to be so good, so fun. I'm telling you, you got to put that on All in Texas. Kyle Fletcher, Adam Cole, TNT Championship match. Book it. And we are ending the show with our CEO, the winner of the Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament, Mercedes Moné. And here she is. Well, there she is, the winner. That's why I have a feeling something is bound to happen. And I feel like Toni, my client, Toni Storm, needs to be on her guard at all times, because as Mercedes says, money changes everything. Let's see what she has to say. Say hello to your CEO. I have a feeling she's going to break Jade's record. There she is, the timeless one, my client, a four-time AEW Women's Champion. You think my client was just not gonna let that sleazebag walk in? That's my client, Toni Storm. Don't you underestimate her. There's a reason she's a four-time AEW Women's Champion. First woman to ever do that, by the way. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very happy. And this is why I do watch-alongs, because I know a lot of people give AEW a hard time. So it's nice that I have a space to do my watch-alongs every Wednesday with all of you. And here is my client, the timeless one. She's ready to speak. And she took off her shoes. Did she really say that? Did she really have to say that? Yes, Toni, she's undefeated. Anthony Khan. Anthony Khan. Well, I knew she was going to say that. I have a lot to say on the post show. You tell him, darling. Man, she had to trot the boss reference? I'm happy they are getting an overrun for this, and as they should. She has a point. That's all she needs. There's a reason why she's a 4-time AEW Women's Champion. "45 days away, folks." why she's timeless. There's a reason why she's timeless. "45 days. What do I feel like there? She has some tricks up her sleeve. It's gonna be very intense. She sniffed her. Oh, Toni. Storm. She was about to put the Storm 0. She was really gonna do it. There's a reason why she's a 4-time AEW Women's Champion. We shall see. 45 days away. Oh, she does what she does best. Toni, she's really doing the CEO. Oh my god. She is just. You wish it was yours, lady. It's staying with the timeless one. Coming. Well, that was a fun episode of. That was a really fun episode of Dynamite, by the way. Oh, that was really fun. Oh my goodness. Well, that concludes Dynamite this includes the Fallout. It was a very solid episode of Dynamite, and we're just gonna get into the post show super quick on this. We kicked off the show with Hangman Adam Page. He had a lot to say after he won against Will Ospreay. And shockingly enough, we had Swerve Strickland come out, and he had a few words to say with Hangman, especially after his shot at Dynasty against Jon Moxley, and also showing that clip of the Young Bucks saying, thanking Hangman that they did it for Hangman. And Swerve questioned him, saying, did he have anything to do with the Young Bucks and trying to screw him up his title because they both don't like each other. And Will Ospreay came out and tried to play a little bit of peacemaker a bit and really said him and Swerve have to work together because this is so beyond the AEW title picture. It's pretty much taking down the Death Riders. Because the Death Riders, they are a cohesive unit. And that's going to be something that Hangman has to learn. And sometimes you're going to be going alongside some of your people that you wouldn't expect to make an alliance with. So we shall see on that. We did kick off with an amazing trios match. Marina, Shafir, Jon Moxley, Gabe Kidd taking on Speedball, Mike Bailey, Willow Nightingale, and Mark Briscoe. Of course, we had that little runt Wheeler Yuta at ringside, but it was a really good match to start off. I wish Willow Nightingale kicked the crap out of Gabe Kid, because how do you spit on someone else's face? That is so unsanitary. And I wish he did beat the crap out of him. And we also, another developing storyline, we got to see Chris Statlander watching Willow's match backstage. So I'm very curious on where this is going to go with Chris Statlander, on where she's going to fit in. We also got to hear from the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Hart Syndicate, alongside MJF, and really trying to figure out what is going to be there. Like, what are we planning to do with the tag team titles? And, you know, they're kind of calling out, saying, well, which tag team is going to step up to the plate? Because, like I said, too soon for FTR because they're still on their heel run. Private Party, we haven't seen. They're MIA after losing the belts. The Outrunners, they're supposed to be in the feud with the Don Callis family, as with everyone is with the Don Callis family. So it's just a matter of time, and I guess we'll see what happens there with the tag team from the Hurt Syndicate. We also had Harley Cameron and Anna Jay taking on Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Definitely a solid match between all four of these ladies, and it's very interesting it was not at the 9:30 mark, because I know people are like, 9:30, but it wasn't. Very happy. Harley Cameron had a busted face, but she continued the match. So happy for her. But the winners of the matches, Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. We got to see the Ops make their way to the ring for the AEW World Trios Championship match against the Frat House. Thankfully, the Ops are still the tag team champions. We were going to see my client, Jamie Hayter, because I really wanted to talk about what she's going to do next, but before she can answer, and I hope I say this name correctly, the Kyla was standing in the ring and just pretty much spearheaded Jamie Hager. I'm guessing that's going to be the next feud, and it will be interesting to see on where that goes, but I do believe Jamie Hager will be back in the AEW women's title picture, and she's still one of the top tier females in that division. We got to see Adam Cole taking on Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship match. Unfortunately, that match ended. It was a really good match, but it ended by disqualification by Josh Alexander and beat the crap out of Adam Cole. And that segue into Brody King taking on Josh Alexander for the AEW International Championship qualifier matches, where the winners of the matches take on Kenny Omega next week for Fyter Fest, which I will say next week Fyter Fest is going to be 4 hours. So bear with me on that. Talk more about that. But Josh Alexander, Brody King, definitely a good match between them. And the winner of the match is Brody King. So he gets to be alongside Kenny Omega next week. And I'm super, super excited for Brody King. Also, we got to see pretty much Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher beating the crap out of each other. I believe they're going to have a feud leading into All in Texas, and they're going to have a rematch for the TNT Championship somewhere down the line. So it's not over between those two, and I think this is going to be a first serious rivalry since Adam Cole got the TNT Championship belt. So we shall see on that. And we ended it off with the ladies. Mercedes Moné, my clients, the reigning AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm. They had a lot of words, and I will say it was a solid promo. It was a very solid promo by both of these ladies, and I know Mercedes, she wants to, but Toni, she just ampled it up a little bit, and I'm very, very proud of her. I'm very, very proud. So I did not get my full slate of Double or Nothing. I will say the event was a solid overall pay-per-view. I did enjoy Anarchy Arena. All the matches were great. I did enjoy all of them. The men's one, I'm very intrigued on where this is going to go because I feel like there's going to be a lot more added players to this match. And I don't think it's going to be Moxley versus Hangman one-on-one. I do think it's going to be probably expand to a Fatal 4-Way or something of that nature. It's probably going to be Hangman versus Moxley. Probably include Will Ospreay and maybe Darby Allin will be included into the fray. But I'm very curious on the men's side on what they're going to do. So I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride with the men's because there are so many angles they could go with this. Also, there's one thing I mentioned. Apparently, Ricochet, with everything that's happening with the Hurt Syndicate, the Don Callis family, the Death Riders, everything else, looks like he's trying to form his own stable. I don't know what's he going to do because he doesn't have that many friends in AEW, but we shall see in the coming days, the coming weeks. We'll see where that goes on who's going to be joining his alliance. But I also want to talk about the Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament because I didn't have a lot of say into this a lot. And I'm going to look at this from two different angles. So this is where I put my PR princess front because that's my everyday job working in public relations and media. I understand with All in Texas, it's one of their biggest events of the year. They're trying to sell more tickets. It's easy with Mercedes because she's well known. She has a global presence and also easy to do the interviews, promotions, everything in that nature. Plus, you have the promotion with Max as well, on top of streaming on Max next month. So you really want to make sure you get a lot of eyes in the table, the branding, sponsorships and branding opportunities for AEW, and just really get people into the product. So I get with the women, they're trying to really push this, and I understand it's an easy sell because people are familiar with Mercedes and what she's done, and also with my client Toni too. Now here's the other part of this, the fan part in this. And I do have a question that I posted in the chat earlier. Did she really needed to win the Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament? And the reason I ask this is because I had to think a lot about this the last couple of days because with the presence, the global status, and everything that she's done around the world, and especially being Impact, did she really needed to win the Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament? Because we know she's one of the best women's wrestlers to do it. And we knew she was going to go into All in Texas. But there could have been a different angle in this. Like, she could have punched her ticket easily by going up to Toni and slapping her in the face. Or doing something vice versa in a way. Because we knew she was going to go to All in Texas. It was just a matter of time. And this is pretty much nothing against her. It's just pretty much the obvious. Because the minute I knew she was entering that tournament, it was just like, I didn't want it to be obvious. I would have loved to see like a lot of twists and turns into it, but here we are in 2025, May 28th. So, I mean, to be honest, it was not something I wanted. I'm not trying to be biased, but I would love for my client Jamie Hayter to kind of get into that because Jamie and Toni have some unfinished history that not many people are aware of, but I understand where it has to sell. And also with the fact too, I am hoping this is not the only women's match at All in Texas. I know they're trying to push this for main event, but this is where they're really going to have to really take it up a notch, especially with the fact with the men's match, because there is a lot of angles they're going to go with. Especially with the fact if they're going to expand and include a lot more participants, this is where the women really, this is where you're going to need to have more than one women's match. And especially if you're going to be battling it out with NXT in the Great American Bash, with the fact that NXT is one of the best women's rosters, you're going to need to incorporate a lot of women storylines within your women's division to make it a success. And also with the fact too And this is nothing against Mercedes and everything else, but like, with all due respect, she should have not won it. Like with the status and everything, she should have not won it, and she could have punched her ticket in very easily. We knew she was gonna go. It was just a matter of time, but I wanted to see her versus Toni. I wish it was in a different angle, but we shall see what happens in the coming weeks. I mean, congratulations on winning. I know our mayor pretty much had a lot to say because I was not there, but I will be back on WWT Live next week because I will have a lot to say in 7 weeks. And I have a feeling we're going to have a debate on this because there is a lot of angles to say. And sweetheart and lady, if I was going to tell you this, because you call yourself the Beyonce Knowles of professional wrestling, I wasn't going to say Beyonce. You're kind of more like the Brandy Norwood of professional wrestling, if we're being honest. But that's just me. And there'll be a lot more to say, but I wanted to address that in a way and say my takeaways on it, because I had to look at this from 2 different lenses. But, congratulations, Mercedes. You're facing off against my client, the timeless one, Toni Storm. And also, I don't even know what they're going to do with the TBS title belt, because I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if Mercedes broke Jade's record of 508 days. I would not be shocked because she's kind of halfway there. So I don't even know what they're going to do with the TBS. I think for this match, it's just the AEW Women's Championship match. So we shall see of that. I give a solid 9 out of 10 on this episode of Dynamite. It was definitely really good on the aftermath of Double or Nothing. There's a lot of more stories to tell. I do think there is a lot more expansion, especially on the women's side, that they could do, because I just don't want this to be the only women's match at all in Texas. We shall see in the coming weeks, because we get 7 weeks. Because I'm going to tell you something. Mercedes and Toni better deliver a storyline, because last year Mariah May and Toni Storm was cinema, and that was one of the most unexpected storylines in the women's division that they had on AEW, and they better deliver, especially in 7 weeks, because even though they have a good match, but the storytelling, you better deliver. But that wraps up Timeless Elite Wednesdays for me, and I'm very excited to spend it with all of you. It has been super, super fun spending it with all of you on this watch along for AEW Dynamite, the fallout from Double or Nothing. Next week, Fyter Fest, it's going to be 4 hours, so pray for me. Pray for me as well. Want to give a shout out to Boza, Ari Barbalat, Bobby Patino for stopping in for a little bit, Aaron Teagle for stopping in, Eddie Foster for coming in, Zach Miner for coming in, Frederick Cole for coming in, Eric Douglas coming in. Do want to thank you all, and Muhammad Khan for coming in for AEW Dynamite. I know a lot of people don't watch AEW on a week-to-week basis, but this is why I get to do my watch-alongs with all of you, because it's definitely fun to watch. There's going to be a lot more to say. I'm pretty sure our mayor has a lot to say regarding his client Mercedes Moné, but I will be back on WWT Live next week. I will not be on this Friday. I'll be back on next Monday, but please you guys know where to follow me on all my socials. At Courtney NJ11. Make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling, because this Friday they have their first all women's event happening. So super excited on that, and yours truly will be on the call doing commentary. I'll be doing backstage work, interviewing the ladies. So there's a lot more to it. But I do want to thank you. And thank you so much, Ari, for that. I try to do my job as a hostess. It has been a fun, solid episode of Dynamite. there's a lot more stories to tell, but like I said, I put my 2 cents regarding Miss CEO, but here we are. Here we are, but I'm still sticking with my client, Toni Storm, sticking with her through the good, bad, the ugly, whatever. But I'm very excited to spend it with all of you. You guys know where to follow me. You guys know where to follow me on my socials, but thank you all for joining on this edition of Timeless Elite Wednesday, and I will see you all next Wednesday for Fighter Fest. It will be a 4-hour edition, so get ready. It's going to be a fun one, and I'm very curious on what they're going to have for 4 hours. But thank you guys for watching, and please make sure to follow Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Have a great evening, and I will see you next week.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.